My bipolar disorder was misdiagnosed as ADHD. Although it's not always talked about so openly, mental illness is quite common. In fact, according to a survey done by Women's Health and the National Alliance of Mental Illness, 78% of women suspect they have one, and 65% have been diagnosed with one. Still, a huge stigma persists. To break that down, we spoke to 12 women dealing with conditions like depression, PTSD, and more. All this month, we're sharing their stories. Name: Ruth White. Age: 52. Occupation: professor. Diagnosis: bipolar disorder. I was around 40 when I got diagnosed, but I could look back and see that I'd been ill since my early 20s. Most of the symptoms were hypomania, not sleeping, staying up for a couple days in a row, having a lot of energy, having a lot of ideas. And I had depression, but it was for very short periods. People around me noticed there was a problem. I was always a high-energy person and on the go all the time. I had a kid, I was working full-time, and at the same time I had a part-time job. After a few years of that, it got to the point where I just couldn't focus. I had a lot of sleep issues, and at the same time I was trying to raise a kid. So I was really focusing on how I was going to do that. My partner told me I should see a doctor, that I should talk to someone. At some point, I became overwhelmed. I was trying to do it all at once. I went to a therapist, who referred me to a psychiatrist, and I ended up in the hospital because I was suicidal. Still, a lot of my friends said nothing was wrong with me, that the diagnosis was just part of the medical profession making a problem out of something that wasn't a problem. They used to call me crazy in an affectionate way. Before I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I was diagnosed with ADHD, because my symptoms looked like that. I took Ritalin but it wasn't calming me down, so doctors said I didn't have ADHD. I decided to talk about my story in the Seattle Times, and people would come up to me on the street on campus where I worked. They said, "That's me too, but of course I'm hiding." It's really great that you can talk about it. I really think the separation of mental health and physical health is not a natural one. I think that separating the care means you don't see a professional when you're sick. As far as my treatment goes, I have a holistic approach in addition to medication. I take medication for my bipolar disorder, and I used to see a psychiatrist, but I haven't had to see her for quite some time. I've been symptom-free for about 2 years. I sleep a lot. Basically, I sleep as much as my body needs to. I exercise pretty frequently. And then I focus on the people I care about. I think those things have sort of helped. That's the holistic approach to my mental health.